There is no doubt trail cameras could spook deer. The key word is could. Today we're going to be talking about how to reduce the amount of scared deer in relation to your trail cameras. My name is Jake Hofer. I've ran dozens and dozens of cameras over the last half decade, and we've talked with some of the most deer crazed folks over the last 6 years at Exodus, and we're going to be talking about some of the things that we've learned from them and things that we've implemented here in the field to reduce the amount of deer that get scared. One of the easiest ways to reduce the amount of deer that you're scaring is hanging your cameras higher. Now, some people may think that you have to get 10, 12 feet high, but in reality is you're trying to reduce that camera in terms of where the deer's line of sight is naturally. So you can even be 6 or 7 feet, have it just slightly above their line of sight where they're typically looking, and reduce the amount of deer you're scaring drastically. The one thing to consider though is when you put them up higher in terms of relation to topography or where you're trying to have that camera actually effectively cover, there's a lot of give and take to this, but in short, hang it high, keep it out of sight, and more importantly, by having it out of sight, you're gonna get more pure data. That is the whole point of these trail cameras. You don't want data from spooked deer because you don't want to be hunting spooked deer. So in reality, the out of sight, out of mind method with trail cameras, you're going to get better data in order to help you have more success when you're hunting this fall. In terms of taking out the logistics of how you're hanging it, so obviously hanging it high is important, or if you're hanging it lower, having it in a multi-trunk tree or having it blend in with the surroundings is another easy way, but that's common sense. So we're going to talk about how to use tactics that reduce the amount of spooked deer, and one of the biggest ones is hanging your cameras in a strategic method. So if you are putting a standard camera very deep and checking it often, it's not necessarily the camera that's scaring the deer, but it's you yourself going in and checking it often, and therefore you're having diminishing returns with the data that you're getting. So that's number one, is checking your cameras efficiently and effectively. So if you're using that standard camera, put it in an area where it's very low pressure and very easy to check without any diminishing returns. Now, if you're using a cell camera, obviously to help spook proof them, have them deeper, have them on a solar panel, and the beauty of that is you're able to set it, forget it, and then you're going to get the most pure data because you're not going in and the camera is already hung high, out of sight, and it's going to be really effective. The other important thing too, when you're hanging these cameras out of sight for the deer, you're also hanging them out of sight for other people. So whether you're hanging cameras on public land or shared private ground, having them just out of sight is also going to reduce the amount of attention an area may receive. So that's something that we've seen over the years, and it's just best case scenario, have them be out of sight, out of mind.